Hello everybody, welcome to today's market update. We're going to take a brief look at BTC. There really isn't a whole lot new going on here, but nonetheless we'll take a look at what has happened and again what we can expect moving forward, right? So essentially we've been range bound for some time. We can see we kind of have these upper and lower levels where BTC finds itself range bound, and the key thing here is not to get overly bearish at the bottom and overly bullish at the top, even in these mini ranges that we have here. And we'll go over that a little bit more as we move forward. But ultimately, I would say that it's time for BTC to find some degree of a move upwards. And the reason being is we have these lulls here. We've taken it out. Okay, we have these lows here. Take it out again here, and again here, and again here, also taking these two out from here, and again here, and now possibly again here we see something similar yet again. What's been happening is that we're seeing a lot of passive buyers in here, right, and a lack of market buying follow through. So those passive buyers are building up support in here, absorbing shorts and sells into these lows, which then bring us back basically into this range, this local range that we have here, back inside the range, where then we continue to consolidate, right? And now the issue is, the reason why we're not seeing a further move up is that market participants aren't then buying and creating follow through for a move upwards. Okay, but given how many liquidity grabs and stop hunts we've had at the lows here, I'm anticipating a move up from this range, or at the very least to visit the top of the range here, where then we can assess again, where is our next move, what can we look to next. So let's go ahead and dive into that. This is essentially what I'm looking for and what I have been looking for since this October 13th low. To me, this date marked the opportunity for the bears to take out our 17.5, 17.6K low, right? Failing to do so here was a signal to me that we are not going to take out the lows. Now, there's still a possibility that that could happen, and according to our macro reverse impulse wave to the downside, that wave 5 has to be complete by November 5th. So if we get to November 5th and we still haven't taken out that 17.6K low, that to me would be my final signal to say, okay, it is extremely unlikely that we take out that low. I would prefer more ranging, or even, I guess most preferably a move to the upside, especially at that point. But in the meantime, a lot of my boxes have been checked, and this is sort of what I'd be looking at this point. So if we're taking a look at our liquidation levels, I marked a bunch of them out, and essentially we've just been grabbing them, right? At here, 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 took out a bigger one here, and at this point, a lot of the liquidity is up to the upside now, right? It would be at about 19.9, 19.8K. So for that reason, I'm really looking for our next more aggressive move to be at the very least to the upside to this order block. We have a naked point of control here as well as one here. I would look for some degree of resistance at this 19.775 naked point of control, because it would be an opportunity to take out these highs here and grab some liquidity, just even getting that move up here. But there's a larger liquidity pocket just a little bit more to the upside. We could come up, tap this order block as well as the naked point of control at about 20,070, and then see some degree of a retracement from there, right? If we were to break up above and we do flip this area to support, then my next couple things I'd be looking for, we have our 17.5K VWAP here, which could act as resistance. We also have a really nice area of liquidity at about 21K, and it is also a nice extension for our wave 3. So for me, this zone would be a really nice target for a wave 3 if that is what we're going to get here, right? And then from there we can have a retracement, wave 4 can't overlap with 1 typically anyway, and so it'd be really nice to break up above this order block, come back, retest the order block in this 20k psychological area. We can see here that this area has been a resistance area, so it would be nice to break up above, come back, retest it, and have something of a move up. To me, this would make the most sense, and really what it's going to come down to is what we decide to do when we get to this level here. Are we going to have a rejection and simply, go back down to this very tight range here, the range low, and then just continue to range out? Or will we have some degree of strength breakthrough, flip this area to support, and have follow through to our wave 3 target? So that's something yet to be seen. And another thing to keep an eye on here, we do have a fair value gap that I would look to get filled. Essentially, we get to this area of liquidity, our VWAP here, we reject, come down, flip this zone to support like we just talked about, and then we would have continuation for our wave 5 to this weekly, also the range value area high, fill this range value gap, and then from there, have some degree of a larger retracement and ABC correction, right? But the one other area I would look for is swing failuring these highs here. So we have some equal highs. We could get a move up, reject off of the fair value gap, and simply come down and rotate the range again, or at the very least have some degree of a retracement here, right? So to me, those are the next few areas I would be looking for. First of all, being in this zone with this order block, this naked point of control, this area of liquidity, right? Looking maybe to hedge in case we do just continue to range out of there. My next area being this 20.5k area that we could look to take out these equal highs, reject off the fair value gap, have some degree of a swing failure pattern, right? Or then, a move to the downside. My most ideal scenario would be if we did get that push up to this larger area of liquidity at about 21k, then come down, retest this zone of support, have follow through for then our wave 5. So until then, we're still down here. I don't want to get too excited and saying, okay, we are going to get this move up. We do have a few areas to the upside that we would have to see how price reacts to first. And then most importantly, we have to have some degree of a change in market structure where we, basically take out this high and have, continuation, right? So until then, again, we're just very simply range bound. There isn't a whole lot going on, and if you do want to trade it, it's basically short the range high and long the range low has been, sort of the basic play at this time. Now to the downside, in my opinion, so again, we reviewed this, where was it here that we looked at that on this chart? It was, right here we talked about it. It's this, we've taken out these lows so many times, time and time again. We've taken out these lows, and we haven't really been seeing that with, we have equal highs here, we have our high here, we have equal highs here. We have failed. We're not grabbing the liquidity so strongly to the upside as we have been to the downside time and time again, just wicking down here, right? So again, like I said, I would really love to see that some degree of a move up here, but really to the downside at this point, the only thing that's left there to grab would be our low. Of course, our 18k low here that we had put in. Let's go ahead and clear this out a little bit. No, really our 18k low here and our key low is really all that there is left to the downside. Of course we can have smaller grabs below these ones here, or whatever it might be, but as far as key or major moves go, all the liquidity is about 17.4, 17.2k. So really it would just be one of these moves, which is what I wanted. Quite some time ago we have been talking about this move actually for months and months and months and months and months, and I was expecting it the second week of October, and this is what we got instead, where we took out took out these lows here, but we did not take this one out. And again, not to sound like a broken record, but to me that was a signal that we're going to see some degree of a move up. And you guys have heard me talk about all of the conditions and everything, our macro harmonic, we have our macro inverse impulse wave, we have our Adam and Eve bottoming pattern, we have a local wedge, we have a macro wedge, we have RSI divergences, we have local CVD divergences. There have just been so many things that I look at this and I think to myself, it's, in my opinion anyway, it's more likely at this point, ever since this right here, this is sort of where I flipped my bias and said I think that we're going to have some degree of a move up instead of continuation to the downside. Again, however, the one time, let's see if I have that here, it would be, we do have, however, again, this macro 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with our macro cipher target, which by the way did get hit on the CME, has until November 5th, this date here, to technically to take out wave 3, right? So for me, this is the final thing that in my mind is keeping me a little bit more grounded, still considering the possibility of a move down, because we still have until November 5th to do that. Now, once we reach this date, if this low is still intact, my perspective is that it is extremely likely that we will not take out this low, right? So this is still keeping me a little bit more grounded, but nonetheless, as I've stressed throughout this video here today, is that I am looking to the upside. We do have many levels here that we can keep an eye on, but I'm certainly not looking to take out these lows or have an extreme or an aggressive move down, at least at this time. So I will keep you guys updated as the week goes on. We are range bound, so until something interesting happens, we'll just sort of be looking at some trend lines and other small updates, divergences, things like that. Again, in the Discord, please go ahead and post the altcoins that you guys want to see for our aping altcoin video on Wednesday. And we'll follow a similar format, I think, depending on what BTC does. If we have more range-bound action here, our video on Wednesday will have 2 altcoins featured, and then the live stream later that night will have the third altcoin where I'll actually go through from start to finish, a clean chart from start to finish. We'll go over looking at levels and drawing some sort of analysis. So I look forward to it, and we'll see you guys in the Discord, okay?